Hello, everyone, and welcome to 10 Bagger Stocks YouTube. I know I haven't been posting here much, and I've said that I'd get back into posting, and I haven't, but you can imagine I'm quite busy with all the things that I'm doing, managing a lot, trading, doing my own ventures. I'm working on new ventures, and I'm working on a new options course. So I got a lot on my plate, and, I'd like to say Happy New Year to you guys. I hope you guys had an amazing year last year. I know I haven't posted pretty much at all last year. But last year was a big year for me. I got into options, heavily into options, and I was having an amazing year. The first 6 months of the year, I performed phenomenally. I made more money than I ever imagined I could have made in the market very fast with options, mainly on Bitcoin shorts and Tesla shorts. And I was talking about that on my YouTube. If you look back some of my last videos that I posted, I was talking about how excited I was to short Bitcoin. And that's what I did last year, and it, in simple terms, it made me millions of dollars. But I had an amazing year overall in technical terms. And in the summer, I gave back a chunk of my profits because I had a big put position on Tesla. I went overboard because, after making so much money, I started to get too cocky and make mistakes. And I went overboard in the summer. I gave back a large chunk of my profits. And then the rest of the year was kind of stagnant because I took a hit and, I lost a lot of my confidence and, I just didn't want to trade with as much capital. So I reduced my position size a lot because I wanted to make sure that, I protect the money that I made. And I already gave back a lot. I didn't want to give back all of it. So I wanted to protect it. So I started locking it up in GICs, savings accounts, investing it in gold, and doing different things in order to protect those profits so they don't give it all back, because it's very easy to make a lot of money and it's very easy to lose a lot of money, especially in options. And options are absolutely insane. These things move 30, 40, 50% plus a day, so you can imagine your average stock is moving a couple percent a day, maybe. These options are moving 30, 40, 50%, sometimes a couple 100% in single days. And you can make a lot of money. You can lose a lot of money very fast. It's very risky. And I like to emphasize how risky it is because, I made millions and I also gave back millions too. And at the end of the year, I walked out a winner. And, I'm very thankful and blessed with what I achieved, but it could have been a lot better. And, my cockiness and the mistakes that I made, definitely took a hit on me, Nonetheless, I'm looking forward. I have to learn from my mistakes. We all make mistakes. We all get a little emotional and dramatic and cocky and stuff. Sometimes it can happen. And, I had a lot of great calls and great ideas last year. But, when it comes to options, it's really about timing. And timing is so important because if you're wrong, sometimes even by half an hour, you're already pretty negative on a position. So I'm working to fix the mistakes that I made last year and improve for this year because I see a lot going forward. I see less opportunity going forward in this year than I did last year. Last year, we just had so much craziness still. I saw a big shorting opportunity on the market. I thought everything was way overvalued. I turned out to be right. Check my last videos, and I kind of explained a lot of it. I was looking at the charts, and I had really good analysis, and it played out just as I was thinking, and that paid very, very, very well. It's just once everyone kind of jumped on the ship and everyone started shorting, that's kind of when I started to give back some of my profits. And, the opportunity wasn't as clear anymore. And that's kind of how it is, because at the time when I started shorting, everyone was still so bullish. Everyone's idea was still buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. And so since I was doing the opposite of the majority of people, I was able to really capitalize on that short selling opportunity, that put opportunity. And, now that a lot of people are doing it, it's not as easy. But looking forward, I'm looking at gold, and this is a different story now. The vast majority of people are not interested in gold. The vast majority of people think gold is boring, it's slow, it's useless, it's old-fashioned. This is what people think. And that's in big part why it appeals so much to me. Is if everyone was like crazy about gold, trust me, I wouldn't even be talking about it. I'd be shorting it. I'd be shorting it if everyone was crazy about it. I like to do the opposite of the stream. I like to go against the stream sometime, but you don't want to like just jump in front of the stream and go against it, because that can mess you up a lot of the times, because the stream can be very powerful at times and you don't want to go against it. But what I like to do is I like to look at the charts, and when the charts tell me now's the time to strike, that's when I want to go against the stream. And that's what happened with Bitcoin. I always thought Bitcoin was nonsense, but I was bullish Bitcoin a lot of the time because, the charts look good. I saw a lot of hype. I saw a lot of catalysts that would make it pump. And so I was bullish Bitcoin for quite some time, even though fundamentally and opinion-wise I thought it was nonsense. I was still going long Bitcoin and Ethereum and the mining stocks. So you don't want to just jump in front of the stream. You want to, there's a lot of analysis that goes on in terms of charts and fundamentals and news and catalysts and all this kind of stuff. And so now that I know the bulk of people aren't on the gold train right now, because they're all still negative, bag holding their crypto, hoping that somebody lends a hand out to save them, or their stocks. They don't even have the money to buy gold in the first place. And just gold's not appealing to them. People just don't think they can make a lot of money on gold. And I would say I think they're very wrong. I think gold can very well go up 30%, 40%, 50%, 100% or more. And it's not just that. Now that I know options, now I can capitalize on options that are tied to gold. Bitcoin is down 80%, but my put options on Bitcoin at the time, I was making 500%, 1,000%. I was making a lot of cash. So I'm expecting and hoping to do the same with gold. It may not be as lucrative as the Bitcoin short was or Tesla short was, but I believe it will be lucrative. And the charts are looking good. So if you do want to learn how to do options, and I mind you, and I would like to say it's very risky, okay? Like options is not, you can lose all your money very quickly, whatever you risk. You can't lose more than you risk if you're just buying and selling options. And I have to teach you about it because there's a lot of things to learn. But I'm dropping a course sometime this month. It's going to teach you everything you need to know about options. It's very thorough. It's very easy to understand. It's only going to be around 4-hour course, and it's going to teach you everything that you need to know if you do want to get into options. So I'll let you know once that is released on my Instagram, and it'll be on my website as well, 10baggerstocks.com. So let's look at gold and look at the charts. And charts, if you've been following me for a while, is one of the most important things to me. But I do look at everything. I do look at fundamentals, charts, news, all different kinds of stuff. But charts is one of the most important things to me. So gold, what I like about this gold chart is, one, is this fake out right here. We had this big range that gold was trading in, and then it broke the range bearish, but it was a fake out. And then you saw accumulation. It didn't get much further down. And then I saw accumulation here. We had a triple bottom on the weekly. See that? 1, 2, 3, triple bottom on the weekly. Accumulation down here. And then we broke back above the support. And then you see we got this sort of parabolic move to the upside. This is a big move. Look at the way it's moving. Very strong. Higher lows, higher highs. We could draw a nice uptrend line over here. I mean, it's almost going parabolic because it's just curving almost straight to the upside. So it looks very strong. It's breaking a lot of resistance levels. We're almost at 1900. And we got the higher low, higher high on the weekly as well. You got that triple bottom here. You got a little bull flag on the weekly here. And we're getting higher low week after week after week. Let's look over here. Higher low, higher low, higher low. Again, 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 and again so far on this week. Now, perhaps we're going to pull back a little bit this week, but I'm not so sure. We look quite strong. I feel like the money's going to come in and buy almost every dip there is in gold. The US dollar is also looking weak to top it. So gold is basically, in a way, doing inverse the dollar. But it's not always inverse the dollar. They are correlated. There is a heavy correlation between the two. It's not always inverse the dollar, but as of now, it has been trading for the most part inverse the dollar. And the dollar looks quite weak, almost like a big bearish head and shoulders. Saw some distribution up here, broke the uptrend line, and dollar's just kind of flushing down. And lower highs in the monthly. A lot of bearish signs on the dollar, which is good for gold, because gold is meant to be a currency, and it's meant to be a reserve currency or a reserve asset. I'm not looking at gold as though we're going to start transacting in gold and I'm going to hand you a gold coin. I believe gold will eventually be put on a cryptocurrency system, blockchain system, and I know it already has with Paxos. And I know that's a crypto supposed to be backed by gold. Although, I'm talking about a government-backed gold crypto, not some private third-party one. I don't really trust, a lot of those cryptos. I don't really know enough about Paxos, but personally, I'm looking on a bigger scale, a bigger company, something with the big banks, something with the central banks and stuff like that involved, not a third-party private company. And I believe gold can be put on the blockchain, and then now we can have a crypto that we transact that's values based on the price of gold, but it's easy to exchange. But also gold, it's not always just about exchange, it's about holding its value. That's the whole purpose of gold. You go back 100 years, 1 ounce of gold would have pretty much gotten you a nice tailored suit. And today, 1 ounce of gold will pretty much buy you one nice tailored suit. The purpose of gold is not really to make money. The purpose of gold is to be a store of value. It's supposed to protect your money. And when governments are printing so much currency, it would make sense a time like this when there's threat to the national currencies because of overprinting and inflation and wars and all this other stuff going on. Well, it makes gold more appealing in times like this, especially when stocks are dropping on top of it and the dollar's losing value and all these other factors at play. Gold is becoming more and more appealing. And also, China's been buying. China's been buying a lot of gold. And they announced, they purchased about 62 tons between November and December. They purchased 32 tons in November and another 30 tons in December. Now, I know I got a big buyer buying large amounts of gold, so I know there's big buyers that are supporting the price. That is bullish to me. I know that there's a reason and fundamentals for gold to be going up. And I know that things like gold being put on the cryptocurrency and stuff are potential catalysts as well. And now they're talking about China potentially invading Taiwan. And I most definitely hope they don't invade Taiwan. And I hope that doesn't happen. But if it did indeed happen, I would think that would be very bullish for gold. But let's hope that doesn't happen. I think gold will be bullish either way, whether that happens or doesn't happen. And that's mainly in big part because of the chart. Because ultimately, I think the crypto bulls, I think they're kind of right. Why can the central banks just print so much currency and devalue the currency and stuff like that? And that's why crypto bulls were buying Bitcoin, because it's a fixed amount, very low inflation per year on Bitcoin based on how many coins they mine and all of these other stuff. But I think that Bitcoin was designed to be a distraction. I think it's like a magic trick where the magician is telling you to look over here while they're doing the trick on the side. And I think that's what Bitcoin is. I think it's a distraction, like a bull, a bull being led into the red flag, meanwhile, the prize is right beside. And I think that's what Bitcoin is. It's supposed to lead people in the wrong direction so that I think the big boys, and I talk about big boys, and when I say they, I mention they sometimes, big boys. I talk about big Wall Street bankers, big U.S. banks, politicians, government officials, central banks, stuff like that. They are they, okay? When I talk about they, that's who they is. And I think that these guys, they seem to be ahead of the curve. They changed the laws so they could sell stocks right at the high or the insider trading and whatnot back in September 2021, I guess. I guess it was 2021. a lot of things they seem to do in their favor. Let's be honest here. Things seem a little too coincidental in their favor. And I look at things like, I don't want to get into all that. I don't want to make this video too long, actually, so I'll just stop it there. But I think ultimately, I think they're leading people in the wrong direction with crypto. I think it's intended to be a distraction, to get the masses to buy into this and to rug pull them while they buy up all the gold. And you see that central banks are buying gold. You see that the price of crypto is going down, and you see that the price of gold is going up. So I don't even need to make these assumptions. All I need to do is look at the chart, and the chart tells me everything I need to know. Bitcoin has been going down, crypto's been going down, and gold has been going up. I don't need to know anything else, but the chart tells me that. And this chart on Bitcoin, while it may see some bounce, maybe it's going to bounce a bit more. Maybe they got to distract people a little bit more from the impending rally in precious metals, because they want people buying this instead of this. But I'm buying this. I'm not going to fall for their tricks. The chart here looks good. Got my higher lows, higher highs, bull flags, big uptrend line, fake out below support, big support area, just general trading area over here. I got the double top here, but now we're heading right back up towards those highs. We had that double top on a huge volume. Look at this volume that poured in. This is the big key for me. This is the biggest key for me that tells me I'm on the ball here. Look at that volume that poured in. It is absolutely massive. It's the highest ever on gold, that volume that poured in last year. And while volume spikes typically signal temporary tops and temporary bottoms, that's exactly what that is. Temporary top, and it was. We got a pretty big drop on gold since that high. It was down like 30% or something. And then they came out around June and they were saying Uganda found more gold than was mined in all of history. Unbelievable to me. I don't believe it. I don't think it's true. Peter Schiff says that it was false. It was a rumor and whatnot. I also agree. I think they want people to sell their gold. Why else were they pumping that news so hard without any real evidence to back it? I think they wanted people to sell their gold. And I think this big volume spike was them trying to stop the inflow of all this money into gold. And they just put a lot of paper gold for sale. Maybe the U.S. Fed dumped some gold on the market to try and stop the rally in its tracks. And they got it going down. Then they released some bad news. And then they cover those short positions. Slowly, they begin accumulating. And now we're starting to see this up move. If you notice, JP Morgan, all those guys, they were all telling people to sell back here. And then they started telling people to buy around here and upping the price targets and whatnot. So I think that maybe they were short or they wanted to accumulate positions. And so they were kind of telling people to sell, releasing bad news, flooding the market with paper gold and whatnot in order to drop the price. And now that they've started accumulating big positions, they've covered a lot of their short positions. Now they're kind of telling people the opposite and driving the price up. If you notice, look how little volume is pushing up the price of gold. It's actually declining bull volume. And I see that as a bullish sign because that to me tells me that there's a lack of sellers on the way up. Look how much less volume. Look how little volume made gold go up this much, back in November. Look how little volume compared to previous months. So that little bit of volume made gold rally from 1616 US to a high of 1786 and is declining volume. And that to me tells me there's a lack of supply. There's a lack of sellers on the upside. And look how much volume in contrary it required on that way down. Now, it was declining volume, but nonetheless, look how high the volume was compared to the past. It was very high. And that to me tells me there was a lot of buying support on the way down. So in this volume spike, and I want to look at Tesla because I'm going to show you what this looks like to me. Tesla had a huge volume spike pre-COVID. This was right here. Look at that. Huge volume spike pre-COVID. What was the volume that day? 914 million. I don't think it was that high because it was pre-split and stuff, so they adjusted the volume. Nonetheless, it was a lot of volume that day. Tesla peaked, it kind of double topped, and then it saw a big drop. It bottomed and then went up, consolidated around that area, and then it just went completely parabolic once it broke that high volume area. I think that's what's happening to gold. Look how high Tesla went after breaking that high volume area, because that trapped a lot of shorts in the red. That trapped a lot of people that thought they sold high. They were looking at it in awe, drooling, jaw dropping while they missed the boat and they wanted to get back in. And this created a huge level of support and just ended up squeezing large to the upside. Huge from that point. I think that's where we are with gold right now. I think that right there, this big volume spike, that's the equivalent of what happened on Tesla. We saw that big volume spike, had that double top, pulled back, big chunk, and now we finally set a bottom, got the higher lows, higher highs, and we're starting to make our way back up to that high volume area. And I think once we get up there, that 2,000 mark will consolidate for a little bit, and then I think we're going to get an explosive move to the upside. I don't have a specific price target on gold. It's hard to say exactly where it's going to go. Some people have different targets, 2,300, 2,500, 3,000, 4,000. I think it's going to hit those levels, and I think it's going to surpass those levels. I would just say that. That is my thought. I think gold is going to go higher than anyone thinks it can go. Gold in past bull markets, it goes up more than you would expect. Going back, its bull market in the 1970s when there was high inflation, the thing went from $35 to a high of 870. Look at that. And that move after this consolidation here went from $100 to 800. 7 times your money in what? That was like 5-6 years. 7 times your money in like 5-6 years, and it was like 30 times or 25 times your money in the 10 years in the 1970s. So that's a big multiple on gold on that move. And then once again, that next bull market in the 2000s, which began pretty much as the dot-com bubble peaked, that's when gold started going up. Once the dot-com bubble peaked, gold began that next bull market cycle. Interesting right there. And that, it went from around $270 or so to a high of almost 2,000. So give or take, 6 times, 7 times your money almost. That's a pretty good multiple. So who's to say gold is not going to do another 3, 4, 5, 10 bagger, 20 bagger? Who knows? Maybe gold is just like Bitcoin, where it could hit $20,000, $30,000. I don't want to look that far ahead right now. That's very possible, but that would really imply that the US dollar and the fiat currency is really going through hyperinflation. So it's actually very possible, and it's happened in many currencies before. It's happened in the German mark, 100 years back. It's happened in Argentina, in Venezuela, in a lot of countries around the world that experienced hyperinflation. They saw the value of gold go to hundreds of thousands or even millions, or even in Venezuela's case, I think it's in the trillions. So insane amounts of hyperinflation. So it's definitely very possible, but I'm not betting on it going that high. But do I think it's going to go up 50%? Absolutely. I absolutely believe that. Do I know for sure that it's going to happen? Who knows for sure? But do I believe that? Yes. Do I got my money on it? Yes. And am I planning to try and milk it for everything that it has to give? Absolutely. Now, it doesn't matter what you believe, whether you think gold is nonsense and is boring, or whether you're a Bitcoin bull. It doesn't matter. I was buying Bitcoin too. I was buying Ethereum too. I was buying Hive blockchain and other mining stocks too. Are you here to make money, or are you here to have an opinion and be a slave to your investment? Okay, I'm here to make money. I wasn't buying gold 2 years ago. I started buying gold last year, started accumulating last year, because last year was a time when I said, this is the time for gold. I've been in the market for 8 years. I've never really been bullish gold before. I've traded gold stocks before here and there, but I've never really been a big gold bull until the last year. For me, it's all about timing. And when I look at this chart and I see that fake out, and I see those higher lows and those higher highs, and I see what looks to me like a parabolic move forming. Look, it was like a rising wedge over here. Looked like a rising wedge. And then it broke bullish. Okay, instead of bearish, it broke bullish. That is really bullish. That is like super bullish. When you got a bear pattern that breaks bullish, that is super bullish. This thing looks good to me. The chart looks good. The fundamentals look good. China's buying now. They bought tons in November. They bought tons in December. Turkey's buying a lot. A lot of other countries are buying a lot. The U.S. keeps printing money as much as they can. I mean, I got all the fundamentals I need. I got the catalyst that I need. And I got the chart, and everything says buy. And then I got the masses that are absolutely clueless for the most part about what's going on in gold. They just don't know. They think gold's boring. Gold is boring. Gold is old. I don't want to touch it. How are you going to make money there? All this kind of stuff. So, hey, you know what? I know the masses are not intended to get rich. And so I want to be in what the masses aren't in. The masses were in Bitcoin. Why would I expect to get rich off of Bitcoin if I know there is tons and tons of people that are bag holding it, hoping they can just break even or make their money back, hoping they're going to get rich one day? I'm not going there to bail them out. I want to be where people aren't. I want to be what the governments are doing. The governments are buying gold. I want to be in gold then. Why am I going to try and fight the government? If the government is buying gold, I know there's a big buyer there. I know there's big buying support. There's big interest. If they're buying it, and they're buying tons and tons of it, billions of dollars worth. And mind you, China, they bought just under $5 billion worth or so between November and December. And look how much the price went up. And it's only less than $5 billion. Can you imagine if hundreds of billions of dollars start flowing into this? And everyone's hoarding their gold. Nobody wants to sell. Everyone's holding on. And it's physical. Very hard to if people start wanting physical, guess what? Yeah, people will buy it on the market and they can make, when they talk about GME and AMC, all these paper shares and invisible shares and naked shorting and all this kind of stuff. They do that with gold too. And JP Morgan was accused of spoofing the gold market and stuff like that. But they can only do it to some extent with gold. Because when people are interested in physical gold and they start buying physical gold, well, guess what? You can't print more physical gold. So when it runs out, it runs out. And guess what? When there's a supply crunch and people want delivery of their gold, what's going to happen to the price? This price is going to skyrocket. I mean, it's simple. And to me, it doesn't take a genius to figure it out. Now, demand is picking up. You got banks and other people that are just banks and hedge funds or whatever that is just so leveraged in shorting gold, a lot of naked shorting on gold, and they don't have the physical gold to back it up. Now people want physicals. People are saying, you know what, and this is part of my thesis of gold going up, is people saying, I've gotten so burned with crypto, with stocks, and I got nothing to show for it. Well, guess what? If you buy gold and you buy physical gold, guess what? If the price goes down, guess what? You still have gold. You can make a necklace. Hey, it's not super exciting, but guess what? You got something to show for it. And I think that's where people's mind is going to be. Because they're going to say, you know what? I'm tired of getting burned. I'm tired of getting screwed. I'm tired of all this naked shorting. If I buy gold, then they cannot do that to me. I have my gold. You can't take it from me. Maybe you can. Maybe people say the government's going to come in and they're going to take your gold. If we get to that point, then you're not safe anywhere. So, there's nothing we could do at that point. If we got to the point where the government's going to come in and they're going to take the gold from your safety deposit box at the bank, well, you know what? You're not safe anywhere in that case. So, even Bitcoin. Because Bitcoin, it doesn't matter whether you put it on your cold storage. If they shut down the websites, if they block your IP address, if they block VPNs, if they block your internet access, if they shut down the servers, and whatnot, they can do this if they really wanted to. Right now, they don't care enough to because people are losing all kinds of money. So, they want people, I think they want people to kind of lose money. It'll help tame inflation. Everyone's losing money on crypto, blowing their money. That'll help tame inflation. So I think they kind of want it, and I think that's why they haven't totally cracked down. Plus, I think there's a lot of corruption back there. Who knows, politicians hiding money and laundering money through crypto and stuff, or I think they were. I think they got out now. So it's a lot to think about. I could go on for a very long time, and it's probably a little too long already. But when I tell you, I see this chart and I see that volume spike, I see that pullback, I see that fake news about Uganda finding more gold than all of history. I see JP Morgan that was telling people to sell before. Now they're upping their targets, and now I think that's because they accumulated long positions. I have all the evidence that I need to tell me that this thing is going to go up to unbelievable highs. Could I be wrong? Absolutely, I could be. But you know what? I got my money on it. And when I say I got my money on it, it's a mix of the miners, B2 Gold, Barrick Gold, some gold ETFs. HBU is a good one to trade. Occasionally I'll trade that. HBU, that's a 2 times leveraged gold ETF on the Canadian side. HGU is a 2 times leveraged gold mining ETF on the Canadian side. These ones, not really for holding. They're more for buying and selling or swing trading because they're leveraged ETFs. But you could hold them for a little bit, but have an exit plan with those. I like the gold stocks, Barrick Gold, B2 Gold. There's another one, I forget the name. There's quite a few of them. I prefer to stay away from the penny stocks. I like to stick with the bigger names, more trustworthy to me. So I got my hands in some of those. Been buying physical gold. There's different places you could buy physical gold. In Canada, you could buy it from some of the banks like TD, Royal Bank. They sell it. There's also a lot of gold dealers. Just find a trustworthy source with good reviews and, something that looks trustworthy and offers you a reasonable price. Because they're always going to charge you a little bit over spot, but you don't want to pay too much over spot. So, and you don't want to go for the collector's items. When buying physical gold, you want to go for more the, best bang for your buck in terms of how much gold you get. You want to get the cheapest per gram or the cheapest per ounce that you could get. That's what you're going for when you buy gold. Ideally, when you're investing in gold, the collector's items is different. It's collectors. It's different. When you're buying actual gold for gold, though, it's not really a collector's item. It's more meant to be like a currency or store of value. So typically not going for the collector's items unless you're getting a really good deal there. Silver, I'm not really interested in, to be honest. It just there's a lot more resistance on silver than gold, and it doesn't look like it here, but silver is still trading less than what it was in 1980. And there's a lot more silver than gold. They mine around 900 million ounces per year. I have to double check how much they mine of gold, but it is significantly less. So, silver is a lot more abundant than gold, and it tarnishes and it's not as dense, and I just don't like the chart as much, and I just don't see the prospects for silver as much as gold personally. And I know a lot of people are precious metals bull. They're both silver and gold, and they think silver is going to go up more than gold, and that's why I think silver is not going to perform as well as gold. I think maybe it might go up more initially as the masses kind of pile in, but then drop off, because ultimately the masses, they can't afford gold. The masses can't afford gold. The masses can't be dropping $2,500, $2,600, Canadian on one of these coins. And so, if the world is indeed corrupt and they are trying to take money from the middle class and move it to the rich, and there's a big wealth transfer, I'm going to go with the thing that the middle class and the poor people can't really afford, which is gold. Because the vast majority of people just don't have it. They don't have the money for it, and they're not going to benefit if the price rises. And for that reason, that's why that's a big part why I'm bullish it. If everyone was bullish gold, like I said before, I wouldn't be bullish it, because then everyone's in. But because not everyone's in, and in fact, a lot of people can't even afford to get in, especially with the losses they took on crypto and stocks, to me, it's very interesting to me. To me, it's the time to buy. Even after this big jump, I think it's going to keep going. I think it's past 1,900, 2,000, 2,100, 2,200, 2,300. I think it's got a long way to go. But this isn't financial advice. That's my opinion based on my analysis. I could go on a lot more, but this video is getting a little long, so I'm going to end it here. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to check out my options course once I drop that sometime this month. If you want to get into options and you want to try and play gold with options, I'm definitely releasing what I believe will be one of the best, most clear-cut, easy to understand, simple options courses. And if you haven't checked out my original course already, I got a lot of great reviews on that. And the original course is in big part teaching people how to read the charts and strategies and trade stocks and everything from the basics to advanced. You're going to learn so much. If you like the way I talk, you like the way I speak and explain things, you would definitely like my Stock Market Masters course. But not trying to push that on you, but I know I've made quality products, and I know if people want to learn quick without having to do a ton of research, because it took me years to learn what I know, and I'm not here saying I'm the best trader in the world or anything, but I know a lot. I've got a lot of experience. I'm really good at reading charts and analysis, and I got good ideas and I think ahead. And if you want to get that edge, without having to spend years and thousands or tens of thousands of hours in front of a screen like I did, my stuff can help you. Or if not, just check out my YouTube videos. There's more stuff on here from the past. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you guys have a great night, and I'll be sure to drop more videos soon.